Now you're recording, okay.
Already 20 after, so we gave 5 minutes grace period. Thank you, Rita, for closing the door. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the VIC Toastmasters Club. As you know, we always start with the order of the business section and welcoming our guests for today. And according to my sheet here, there should be 3 of you, so correct me if I'm wrong with the names. I see a Diana Camarini. Diana, please stand where you are and just tell us who you are and how you found out about our club.
So my name is Diana Camarini. I come from Italy. I work for UNBC since more than 5 years. And I figured out that I would love to join a club, a communication club or improving communication club, and by chance I got to know from a friend that this Toastmaster International Club existed. But actually this friend of mine is not UN stuff. And when I went to the website, I just discovered that it was a class at VIC, and I said, wow, amazing! I can join lunch break, and it would be also amazing to connect to so many people. I'm so glad to see so many women here. So I really, it's
Just
amazing.
one man.
I'm sorry, one man, but
I can go out if you want.
do you keep this gender balance always? Anyway, I'm really happy and glad and curious to see what is the purpose, how I can improve my communication, how can I learn from other people, and how I can contribute to this. Thank you.
Well, welcome, Diana. Just for those of you who don't know, the club allows you to come 3 times for free, just to see who we are, how we function. And when we meet is 1 time in person, the first Tuesday of the month, as we all know. The second Tuesday, we're still keeping it online for the sake of those that are working from home. Some people are retired, some are just not able to come in that day. I would like to go to only in person, but as you know, my presidency will end at the end of June. I have to hand over, well, not only this, but I have to hand over my pin. And that's the next thing I will bring up after we go through our guests. The second guest should be a Junan Lu. Hi, would you please?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Junyan Lu. I'm from China. If my first name is kind of hard to pronounce, you can just relate to the June, so that you can name it Junyan. It's my freshman year here in Vienna and also in VIC. I'm a newly recruited JPO at UNIDO. So just arriving here in Vienna in March. I'm still in the exploration time. And after I found the Toastmaster Club in the VIC Club webpage, I found it very interesting, engaging, and also will be of great help to not only my communication skills, but also my future career. Previously, I worked in the Ministry of Commerce back in China. Also, I had a chance to work in Latvia and also in Zimbabwe. So I figured out no matter what kind of job you do or in what kind of setting, occasion, communication is of vital importance. And sometimes I found that the stage fright is a very important issue that I need to deal with. When I'm trying to make, for example, public presentations, even in my own language, in Chinese, I am so overwhelmed by stage fright that I choke, I cannot breathe, and I was so nervous that I found I will make some mistakes that I figure out how can I say that. So this is why I really love to join the Toastmaster, for example, to overcome the stage fright, to master public communication and presentation in a second language, in English, and hopefully I can make friends in this club. I really love to meet you guys. Thank you.
Just so you know, you are in a safe environment. So we get up and sometimes we flow and we think, wow, I was dynamic today. And other days your brain is not firing with your verbal skills. And so we don't judge anyone. If you come in here, it's to learn, but it's also to just exchange information with each other. And I think over the years we've become a lot closer as a group, and we are very much female dominated, but we do have, I think, active paid members, 3 or 4 men. So tables have turned. I think originally Teresa can say there was more men here as members in the beginning. So welcome
there were
to
only
the 2.
men almost at the beginning. You see how far we've come, ladies? But Aishan, I'd like to see you increase the male contingent in our club. Maybe you could do some recruiting.
Well, we can do our own.
I always said to Linus that I have two friends that they are from agency they want to join. Maybe next time I will ask them to come. Hopefully I will be not alone.
And then the last I have on my list here is Ting Peng, but
Not here.
not here. But you've joined officially?
Not yet, but today I will ask in his.
But since you're still somewhat new, both of you, I can put new faces. I'd like to have you both, one at a time, say how to introduce yourselves. I don't have you on my list, but there's a book to sign in as a guest.
Yeah,
The movies was so good.
well, my name is Liana. I come from Honduras. I am a fellow in the CCLAC, and I'm gonna be here until August. And I find this group an opportunity to improve my communication skills, and it has been very interesting. All this past months I've been participating in some of your meetings, and I think I've learned a lot, and I want to keep learning until the last day I'm here.
Thank you, Diana.
I'm coming from Panama. I'm intern in the NEW area. Well, I've joined this 3 times already, and I'm really glad to be here. I want to improve my communication skills, English, and I think it's the best place to do it with all of you.
Thank you, Anna, and welcome to all 4 of you. Important dates, business section. I know it's always to get the formalities out of the way. I think it's important to let you all know of 3 dates that I've written down that are going to happen within the next month. The first, if I keep it in order chronological, is the 14th and 15th of May. Not sure if you all know, but we have the district level contest. And one of our very own, Sila, who a lot of you know, has made it to the district level. She came in first place, she's not here today, but she came in first place in the division contest for the international speech. And I think Maria Teresa was the only one that saw the speech live. And Rita too. So thank you both for being here. I was in the States. I think it's wonderful that you were there to support her. She saw probably your faces. It's all Zoom. And the weekend that it's taking place, the 14th and the 15th, Sila only speaks on the 15th. So you all get a username, password to log on, and I think
No,
it'd be
you
great.
have to, there's a registration procedure, you know.
But then you
I
go.
hate to sound like I'm just an administrator, but you have to at least register your interest, and then you will be provided at some stage with a Zoom. So I was going to suggest to anybody here in the room, if you'd like to go, Melanie, it's not just a contest, but a conference. On Saturday, there are a variety of workshops on public speaking. By the way, you don't have to be a member of this club, I don't think, to join a conference. On Saturday, conference with workshops. On Sunday, there will be the competition for the international speech. I think it would be lovely if we would send our best wishes and be rooting for Sila. It's going to be, I believe, Sunday morning.
Sunday at 11, I think.
And this is the first time that
Online?
someone from our club.
It's online, Zoom meeting, so you
So
just
if you want to register, please make that your interest known to me, and I will send you the link as to how you register.
Can you send it to us anyway? I mean, I'm interested in
Well, of course I can send it, but you know, the problem is, I notice people don't read. And so I don't want to send it to the general membership, you know, in case nobody's interested, but certainly.
Send it to me and we'll send it to Melanie and I will put it on WhatsApp.
Okay.
It's a Sunday the 15th, that's this Sunday.
This coming Sunday.
Okay. First order. Second is for your calendars, the 24th of May. That is our next meeting. It is online. This is where the Club Leadership Committee, and I'm on this Club Leadership Committee as soon to be your former past president. I have one other member that's joining this committee with me. It's going to be Gordana, because we are getting together those that are interested in being part of the executive committee. So we're taking actual nominees. And that means if you're interested, if you're a member in good standing, meaning you paid your dues, you're a full member, and hopefully you've started Pathways, we would welcome you on the executive committee. There are 3 big roles to fill. Number 1, the presidency, which as you can see, it gives you a lot of practice getting up here speaking, getting out of your comfort zone. Second is secretary, because Gordana is leaving. She's ending her contract with the agency at the end of June, actually the end of July, so it doesn't make sense that she's only there for 1 month. And then the Vice President of Public Relations, which is Nicole, is thinking about having herself nominated, which we hope she will, to be the secretary. Otherwise, all the positions, and I will go over them when we have this May 24th meeting, what they are, because we have to have the nominations in by the 24th, so that the next time, when we have our annual general meeting, which is the 14th of June, then we're going to actually do the elections. So I would like to have the main nominations in by the 24th of May, but if anyone on the floor rejected at the annual general meeting, they're allowed to also say, I decided now I want to run, and then it's a vote, it's by ballot. So just to be formal, I watched the video again, it's best to announce the nominations for the executive committee on the 24th, which is in 2 Tuesdays from today. And I'll explain to you all the positions again one more time. And a lot of us that are still in the executive committee, like Maria Teresa, she wishes to stay as the Vice President of Education, the Vice President of Membership, Inez, she plans to stay, Rena plans to stay as Sergeant of Arms, Brigitte as our Treasurer. So the 3 main positions I would really be happy to fill would be, of course, President, Secretary, and Vice President.
I just had a point of order. I think it would somewhat be more appropriate if you know who wants to be considered for nomination, that they know what the responsibilities are before that next meeting, that you were in touch with them, and then you can present your report. And the other thing that's important, anybody can be nominated on the day that we have the elections from the floor, but there's a procedure to be seconded and voted and blah, 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 blah. Just so you know that that option is also possible.
Yeah. I mean, the actual, if you're in our Easy Speak, it tells you exactly what the President and the Secretary have, the Vice President of Public Relations, and for the new members, it's probably too early to take such a role. I would think I would wait a little bit. So that's the 24th. Then June 14th is our annual general meeting, the AGM. That's when the executive committee report will come out from the club officers. So I'll give a little report, and then Inez about membership, Maria Teresa about how we're doing with education, how many people have reached certain levels. And on that note, with certain levels, I'd like to bring attention to our very own Nicole, who has completed level 5. This is amazing. Level 5 in executives. And I know myself, I've done a lot of speeches, but I just completed level 3, so she's 2 levels ahead of that. So that's amazing. That I have to say before I hand over the control of this meeting, and the floor will be to our Toastmaster of the day, Rena, is that in order to have this annual general meeting, we have to have quorum. And what is a quorum? It's half the amount of members. How many members do we have?
31, well,
25
25 on paper,
each.
but potentially after the 23rd of May, there will be certain people that will be processed, but it will be recorded. You only are entitled to vote if you're a member in good standing. That means you've paid your dues.
So the important for me is that 13 people are at the June 14th
Well, we don't know,
meeting.
sorry, we don't know who the members are going to be, but the quorum basically
About 13.
also consists of 50% plus 1.
So I'm hoping that we have all, and if not, then we have to go back to the stage. So anyway, that's our business section. Let's get this meeting started. We have a full agenda, and with that, I'd like to hand over everything to our Toastmaster of the day, Rena. Thank you, Rena.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guest. Before I say something, I am a great fan of recycling. So all the agenda is printed in a recycling paper. So please do not get irritated when you see something at the other side, because I think this is we use only once, then we throw it away anyway. So that is one thing. And also, this sometimes you say a shorter version. It is also recycled. So please do not get irritated. Yeah, when you see why I have a short one, the others have a long one. It is just a recycled paper. That is my one thing to mention. And I have already registered for the Sunday district level. I don't have a computer at home, so I have to come to the office, sit in front of the desktop to watch it. I did it just for Sina. She's our fellow Toastmaster. In the very first time competition, I was not able to do it because I had some other program. And for the second competition, I said she won, and I said, I have to be there, and because, maybe she will be happy to see some familiar faces. So I joined early enough, and then when Silla joined, I sent her a short message just for her, and she was so happy. She was said, "Oh, Reena, thank you for being here. It's nice to see your face." I said, "I'm crossing your fingers for you." I said, and she was that made her very happy. So winning or not winning is the power. So please join if you can Sunday till 11. Take maybe 1 hour time, just to give some kind of moral support or some kind of feeling you are not alone in this, because all of us are nervous before a competition. I will be, I'm sure she is. So some kind of moral support just for 1 hour on Sunday. This is my request. If you can, if you cannot, okay, that's also fine. So this is my introduction. Now we have, this morning when I printed out the program, I was so happy, all the roles I filled up, thanks to Maria Teresa. And emails and telephone calls and etc. So I was very happy to see all the roles I filled up. And we have one speech and one table topics, and we have also the evaluation team. So the general evaluator Tatiana will introduce her team, the evaluation team. Tatiana.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Today we have a full team, nobody is sharing the roles, and it's very important to be very attentive because this team is helping us all to improve our speeches, to improve our behavior, and to improve our quality of introducing the material we have. So, as a first number role, I would say the grammarian is here, and we have Melanie taking this role for as a second role for herself. So, Melanie, would you be so kind to introduce what you are going to do, what will be the word you are going to make us use for this during the meeting, and I think our newcomers will be happy to learn.
So as a grammarian, my role today is to watch everything you say. I'm going to look out for the proper use of the English language. As a native speaker, I'm not such a stickler because I've lived in Europe now for over 30 years and I forget the rules that we use in American English. And I realize that there is a British English out there too, so sometimes we use different grammatical pronunciations of things. But I will look out for the proper use of this international language of English that we're using here at the agency. My word of the day is actually fun. It's called mollify. It's a verb. And what does it mean? It's to soothe in temper or disposition, to reduce the intensity of something, to mitigate, reduce, soften. So I'll put it in a sentence for you to make it easier. The company attempted to mollify its employees by offering them the entitlement of more flexible working hours. So mollify, try to use that word as much as you can, and I'll be writing down how many times we use it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Maria, for the introduction of your role and the word we are going to use. If you can please also put it on the whiteboard for us to remember.
Yeah, you can write it.
It is on the agenda. Or over on that whiteboard.
Oh, that, yeah, we'll put there.
It is in the agenda. Well, having it in front of your eyes maybe would be also useful.
Yeah.
And I have to admit the role of grammarian was always a particularly difficult role for me to take on because I am always not sure about my grammar and pronunciation and other aspects, but I'm sure I'm in good hands for that as a part of my team. Melanie is taking this role. Another role which I'm very happy to introduce is a timekeeper. The timekeeper, please, Alma, if you can please introduce your role and what you exactly are going to do.
Yes, thank you. So, this is mainly for the guests. My role as a timekeeper is to time all the speeches, table topics, actually not table topics, but the speech that Ines will have, as you see in the agenda, and written feedback and evaluation. So basically, and then we have also Lily evaluation of the speech. This will be also timed. So today, Ines will have a 4-minute green light, 5 minutes yellow light, 6 minutes red light. So basically this is also important when presenting the speech to have be within the time limits. And I can also just read, thank you Rina for printing this. It's also very, another, to explain the timing rules and what's the signal difference. So basically I just said green, yellow and red. And then throughout meeting, we listen carefully to each participant and signal correctly. So I've been doing this few times already, and I feel that this role, specifically as a timekeeper, is very engaging. You cannot just phase out somewhere, you have to be very attentive, and it's very important because it's for the speaker, it's very important, is it exactly 1 minute, exactly 2 minutes, you have to be very attentive and very to the point. And yes, at the end, it should be, at the end of the meeting, there should be a report that I will present to you how everyone did with their times.
Thank you very much. And I'm timekeeper, Alba. The other role which is important for all of us, because we do have those unpleasantries and sounds which we make during our speech which do not relate to the context of what we are actually going to present, the R counter. And in this regard, Exam, please introduce the role.
So hello everybody again, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. So today my role is to just count and track, let's say, your A and E, the words that hopefully in future we can filter them to have more smooth speaking. And so this is my role.
And another role we have, which would be taken by Monica, is ballot counter. Monica, would you be so kind?
So, Madam Toastmasters and colleagues and guests, my role is quite simple today. It's very straightforward. We have the table topic session that is going to be organized by Nicole. At the end of this session, we are going to vote for the best speaker, so to say, and I will count the ballots and announce the winner at the end.
Thank you very much. The team is not complete because I didn't introduce yet the evaluator of the speech, and we have one speech, so we have only one evaluator coming today, and it's Lily. Lily, would you be so kind to speak about your role for this meeting as a part of the evaluation team?
I'll introduce the speech just before Ines speaks, and then give an evaluation.
Excellent. The topics master is not, or is he or she part of the evaluation team, or rather speech speaking? So then it's not my role to introduce the topics master. There were some times when the topics master was introduced. So with this I complete the introduction of the team. My own role as a general evaluator is to look out for the duration, throughout the duration of the meeting, how it goes, what are the things to be watched out for, and to present a short report about the meeting and how it went to the audience after the meeting is going to be completed substantively. Thank you very much. I return the control of the meeting to our Toastmaster of the day.
It is now my role to introduce the first speaker, Ines, and I know Ines for such a long time, and she is a great speaker, so we are looking forward to that speech. Before she does it, we need to know what she's going to talk about. I asked Lily, the evaluator, the topic, what she, to introduce what she's supposed to do and what we are about her speech.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Ines is giving her icebreaker. Now, when some of us oldies joined Toastmasters, icebreaker was the first speech that you gave, and you only gave it once at the beginning, that was it. Since Pathways, you give an icebreaker at the beginning of every path that you do, so you reintroduce yourself. You could be reinventing yourself. Very modern thing to do, you know. you're making a new application for a new job for the next level. So we're going on to the next level on our paths. So Ines is giving her icebreaker today, and where is it? So the path that she has chosen in Pathways is called Dynamic Leadership. There are 10 paths that you can select. 11? Yeah, now with the... and the first speech in the path of Dynamic Leadership, the icebreaker, Ines, your role is to deliver a speech on any topic as an introduction to the club, meaning an introduction of yourself to the club, using any style that appeals to you. And I will be looking at your general style. And on the icebreaker level, my mission is to encourage the person who is standing up there for the first time, because the whole point of the icebreaker is overcoming your fear of public speaking. Just get up there and say something. And the idea is I'm talking about myself, so I don't really even need notes. The challenge is usually to get started, and after that it's to stop. So Ines, I'm really happy to congratulate you for this courageous step to make the icebreaker, and that is all I have to say right now.
So, Ines, the first speaker, the title is Kenn ihr Zeit, I think I said it correctly, feeling at home. Ines, Kenn ihr Zeit, feeling at home. Kenn yourself.
Hello Toastmasters, honored guests. I have here two very important products which I contributed to. Suriname's koken, cook the Surinamese way. I'm coming from Suriname. Where is Suriname? Nobody knows. It's not this tiny country somewhere in the middle of South America, close to Brazil. It's actually a very important country. We don't hear anything. No news is also good news. This small box is very important to me because all small cards which I received normally goes in this box, and it helps me to remember where and when did I meet this person on my way from Suriname to Vienna. And it's a long way. I wanted to let you hear some music from Suriname, and you would not believe it. I want to give you a little bit of Surinamese flair. Sorry, I have to get rid of all the different advertisements. We leave the music. We have two people here, two guests from Honduras and from Panama, so they also know basically what the genre is of music. The music is a melting pot. But today I don't really want to talk about music or about food. I want to talk about the origin of Suriname, and where do I fit in this whole equation. Suriname, as you know, was exchanged during the last war between Holland and the UK, and we were exchanged for New York. Suriname was in the hands of England, and England had New Haven, New York. This treaty in 1667 really brought us apart. The Dutch got Suriname for 300 years, until 1975. So, where am I? I'm coming from a family who were brought in as slaves and indentured laborers. What are these? These are people who really were brought in to work on the plantations for cocoa, for coffee, for saffron, for all these goodies which the Dutch at that time needed. And you would not believe it. It was good business. My grandparents fought themselves out of slavery and educated the women, educated the kids to the extent possible. And look at it. I am coming from an environment which really helped me to grow. Nevertheless, Suriname was a melting pot. And in my family, I know that the melting pot concept is you do not look whether you're red, black or white. You are a person and you have your identity. So, it is important for me to think about Suriname as a miniature world which is helping me to understand what do I need to get in life, to develop myself in life. I need tolerance, I need to care. I need to educate, not myself, but everybody around me, in the family or in the community. So I think that these are really the elements which help me to go to the Netherlands, do my education. Professionally, I am an economist by training and an industrial psychologist. That helped me also to understand what can I contribute to the developing economies and to help them to really get on their feet. I worked a lot with women, a lot with poor women in Tanzania, in Iran, in Yemen, and they were for me my mirror. What I saw was a very important message, and that is, you believe in yourself, you are looking at the power of your mind, and at the same time, you are giving as a person everything what you have. You're committing yourself, and there is where I'm coming to the UN, including UNIDO, having been posted in the South Pacific, in Geneva, in Southeast Asia, and at this time in Vienna, I really was able to understand what my role is. Nevertheless, something I need to tell you. We just celebrated Mother's Day, and I always think there are more similarities than differences. And one of the similarities are the cookie jar. My mom had Mother's Day, and I went to a shop to buy her a cookie jar. And the cookie jar shop was next door, and I said to him, I need a jar which has a lid which does not make a lot of noise. Which color do you want? And I said, no, I don't really want to have the color. It should not make noise. Okay, I got my cookie jar. The shopkeeper laughed at me. At the same time, I said to myself, and especially when I was preparing for this icebreaker, I would like to have in life several cookie jars which make me happy, which put a smile on my face, and which help me to understand also what the philosophy in life should be. The philosophy for me in life is you are giving, you are receiving, at the same time unconditional, with love, with understanding, and with your whole personality. And back to you, Amanda.
Thank you, Ines, for the excellent speech. I know you for a long time, but I didn't know all these things. I didn't even know that you came. I knew you have South America, but I didn't know the country you are coming from. That is my ignorance, or I never asked about it. I'm sorry for this excellent speech. Thank you. 1 minute for the evaluation, please. Just 1 minute.
Someone need a pen?
On and done.
Our next session is table topics, and the table topic master is a very well experienced topic master. Well, I am glad I should please postmaster of the day, because I will not get any questions. So Nicole will pick up those people who do not have a role.
Then we skip the session altogether.
Oh my God!
Everybody has a role today.
Everybody has got a role. What is it? Okay.
Well, almost everybody.
Maria Teresa does not have, so. Anyway, it is her control, it is her wish. So Nicole, table topics master, and welcome you to the podium. You just spare me.
Well, the good news today is that everybody has a role, or almost everybody has a role, but the bad news is that we won't skip the table topics. But before I start, I might want to explain a little bit what table topics is for our guests, right? Sometimes in our career or in our life, it's important to be able to answer a question that we were not expecting. In your job, your boss, your colleague might ask you a question and it's really a surprise for you and you don't know what to say, you don't know what to answer. What we do here is that we exercise, and what you get from me is a question, and of course nobody knows the questions I'm going to ask. And you have at least come in, Peggy. And you have to speak for at least 1 minute, and at most 2 minutes and a half. If you can, it's an art, to answer a question when you don't know the answer. And that's the art of speaking out of the blue. You will see that some people do that very well, and you have to stop them, and some people can't reach 1 minute. But don't worry, if you do it for the first time, a lot of people for the first time can't reach the first minute. But after some time, 2 minutes or 2 minutes and a half is not a problem for them. So today I decided to mollify, like Melanie said, and some of my questions are going to be quite easy, others are going to be a bit more difficult. I'm sure that every one of you thought, what would I do if, or what would I have done if? So that's the question I'm going to ask you today. What would you do if, or what would you have done if? And my first question is going to go to Esha. Esha, let's suppose that you are offered a job in the city where you always dreamt to live. But that means a 30% decrease in your salary. What would you do if that happened to you?
Thank you, Yvonne, for this topic. So definitely there is a 2 point. If I was in that situation, so I have to see the balance. If I want more salary, or my dream is coming to reality, let's say, my dream city, my fantasy is that I was always thinking, how can I live in that city? Everything is definitely pleasant for me there. So definitely I give up on the salary and I live in my dream city. So, and it doesn't matter which country should be, because I believe that all of us, we have such a thing. There is some islands in my brain that I always love to live there, but definitely the salary will be less, or let's say 1/10 of what I get anywhere. So, yeah, I give the floor back to you, Nicole. Thank you for talking.
Thank you. Again, I'm sure that even with a 30% decrease in your salary, if you were given the choice to go to a very beautiful island, sunny all year round, and with a big house, you take the change, right? Now, my next question is going to go to a very, very experienced Toastmaster, Maria Teresa. And I chose Maria Teresa because it's a bit of a complicated question. But it is a Toastmasters question, and it was a real situation, something that really happened. But for today, I'm going to say, let's suppose that. Okay? So, let's suppose that you're the president of the club, of a club, not this one, of a club. And one day a guest comes to you and says, I would like to give a speech. My aim is to become president, but not president of the club, president of the country, president of the nation. It's something that you can do, I guess, in all countries. Then the difficulty is you have to get political support, you have to get money, you have to fulfill a number of criteria, but you can have a dream, right? And the person says to you, yes, I've been told that Toastmaster is a real place to improve my speaking abilities and to get evaluated. So you're a very nice person and you want to recruit more members. So we say, okay, fine, yes, you can give a speech. The person gives a speech and the person is evaluated. The evaluation is not good because the speech is not good. The person's, and you think that's it, He won't come a second time. Tough luck. He comes back a second time and asks you again, I would like to give a speech again to improve my skills. What would you do if you were in such a situation as president of the club?
Well, thank you, Madam Tabletop Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. First of all, Nicole, I appreciate you referring to me as experienced and not an old Toastmaster, because that's what I usually get. You're an old Toastmaster. Yes, I've been in this club more than 30 years, but I still think you can learn, which is why, to answer your question, I think it's very easy. I would say practice. Maybe the first speech you give is a bomb. It doesn't go over. You just stumble through it. You don't make your points. Nobody even really wants to listen to you. I mean, if you want to be president, you have to be persuasive. You have to be forceful. You have to at least show people that you have leadership qualities. That doesn't just come with one speech. If the person wants to come back and be in my club, I actually would be very honored, because one of the things I love about this club is to see how people grow. Ines, you were a perfect example for me today. I know you forever, but I realized I don't know you at all. I have seen you grow. I have seen Rena. I shouldn't mention everybody's name, but Toastmasters gives you an opportunity to go outside your comfort zone. To sort of step in, jump in, do things you wouldn't really do. This is a safe environment. You're not at work, you're not quarreling with your partner. Try it out in here. Practice, practice, practice. And as the VP for Education, I encourage you all to please don't just be spectators. Be active, be doers, be forceful, be dynamic. And to my way of thinking, that's what makes a really good club. And I would be proud to be president of that club. Madam Table Topics Master?
I told you this was a real situation, it really happened in the club. And the problem was that the person had taken the club to kind of practice, but not really wanting to become a member. So the president told the person what a club was, what Toastmasters was, what it was all about, and that we were not a political arena. And that if he wanted to practice more, he had to become a member. And that gives me the opportunity to tell you that you can be guest 3 times and then you can become a member. And it's by becoming a member that you will be able to practice and do everything that Mother Teresa has. So I can assure you that there's a lot to gain from being a member of a club. Now my third question will go to Lily, but it's a very simple question. The question is simple, I don't know about the answer. Suppose, Lily, that you have a new chief, and after 2 weeks, your chief asks you to bring coffee to his office where he has a visitor. So coffee for him and coffee for his visitor. That's something you had never done with your previous chief, and something that you don't think maybe you should do. What would you do if that happened to you?
The answer is good.
Really consist,
It's
it's all true. Absolutely. 1 minute, I think? 50 seconds, I can't remember what the time limit is. 1 minute.
And the green will go.
The green starts when you actually start your speech, which is nothing. What would I do? Now, the question that I was asked is the opposite of the situation that I was in. I was in a job, and I wasn't really sure what the boss expected of me, and there was we were a number of assistants, and I ended up being the secretary database because he realised he had somebody else teed up for the position, but I came in for the interview, and he said, oh, she's better. So he took me, and 1 or 2 months later, he took the other person that he wanted and put her in that position, and I was the specialist in the database. So I took that company from a database of a couple hundred members up to 4,000 members. And I was in the situation where I suddenly thought, oh, secretary, bringing coffee. In that, it was an NGO, International Association for Cereal Science and Technology, and the old chief was still there. And he was still dictating his speeches. The secretary had to type from the tapes. And he was expecting his coffee and other things. And my boss, when he interviewed me, he asked me if it would be a problem for me to have a younger boss. At my age, I entered the workforce in Vienna at 45. So a younger boss was no issue for me. But should I bring him coffee? I think I actually asked him, should I bring you the coffee? Would you like some coffee? And it was obvious, he did his own typing, he did his own computer work, he made his own coffee, he was happy that I was doing the database for him. But one of the other secretaries, who came in only 1 day a week, she occasionally came and made him a cup of coffee.
But if it was voluntary, well, why not? But let's not make it a habit, right? All right. Anna? Oh, Anna, your time.
I take time for you.
I'm very busy. No, it's okay. If you send me on the list, it's fine. I can just.
I have time for you, don't worry.
Yes. Anna, let's suppose that you've
That's super.
And being an experienced Toastmaster, you're a mentor. You're mentoring somebody. That is for the guests, helping new members to get started, right? You have a conversation with your mentee, tell the person that you can help. No real reaction. Then you send an email saying, why not present your icebreaker? I can help you. You see the person is coming to the meetings, not taking roles and not answering your emails. What would you do if you were a mentor in that situation?
This is a very good question, because I am currently in that situation, except that I'm mentee.
That's very nice.
I would try to, but my mentor, Gordana, is leaving soon, so I would need a new mentor. But what I would do in this situation is I would try to arrange a meeting with the mentee and to see if there is any way I can assist or help with any part of preparation, which, by the way, we already did with me and Gordana. It was just very busy. I would try to be very understanding because, as Maria Teresa always said, work comes first, and this is additional activities. So if it's at some point very, very busy at work and you spend, and I'm not exaggerating, 12 to 14 hours working here, then you simply do not have time to prepare or even click on the easy path or something like this. But in that case, you have to show understanding first as a mentor, I would assume, understanding but also make sure that prioritization is done. So when you do have some time, like now for me, that you start doing. But then maybe that final push is needed, and then this is where a mentor should show support and do that final push for the mentor. So look forward for my icebreakers.
My subliminal message is for you guests, if you want to join, know that you can have a mentor, somebody who can help you to start, who can help you with your icebreaker and explain to you what you can do or what to expect. There's always experienced Toastmasters who are really ready to help one way or the other. My next question is going to go to Monica, and Monica, you get a really easy one. Monica, you told that you won 100,000 euros, you can make it dollars if you want, in the lottery. What would you do if that happened to you?
Thank you very much, Nicole, for that question. I wish you would have said
1 million.
10 million. 1 million is still not enough. If I see the price, if I see the prices of the apartments, I'm surprised all the time because prices are rising, as you know. Now we have inflation. So 100,000 euros sounds very nice. I think 10 years or 15 years ago, I would have been able to buy myself with 100,000 euros a small apartment. And nowadays, it's impossible. I think with 100,000 euros, you can buy yourself a nice car. But and sometimes perhaps two garage, but not an apartment, not even a small one, not even 30 meters. So, I mean, still I would be very, very happy with that money. I think I would give a little bit to, to people who really need it, share it with someone who needs it perhaps more than I, and I will use the rest to travel a little bit, invest, I don't know, in what, because as I said, with that money, you cannot really do that much, but I would be very thankful and happy.
Well, thank you, Monica, for being thankful. And the reason why I didn't say 1 million is because it could have been too easy, right? With 1 million. So, Madam Toastmaster of the day, do I have time for a last question, or we?
Of course.
Okay, so my last question.
That clock is stopped.
So 117.
Yep. It is 1 hour, it is till the other summertime. It is now 1:17.
Yeah, I know, that I know.
Okay, it's fine.
One more question. So my last question will go to Tatjana. Sorry, Victoria.
Brigitte.
Oh, Brigitte.
Brigitte.
Yeah, right, Brigitte. Sorry, suppose that your husband says that he's booked a room in a wonderful hotel on a beautiful island. But there's only one little criteria, and that is our condition. And that is that there's no Wi-Fi on the island, and you cannot use your cell phone, and you only can use the phone for emergency situations. What would you do if your husband told you, gave you that offer?
Your husband or your mother?
Thank you, Madam Chamber Topics Master. I only can tell you it would be wonderful. I'm not such a internet and mobile freak. I mean, I use it, but I'm not addicted to it, and I can live days without using it. So, especially when I'm on vacation. At home it's different because I have a quite old mom, and so I have to be ready to get the phone call. But without Wi-Fi, when I'm on vacation, it would be a real vacation. And even hotel without TV is wonderful for me. So I really enjoy such vacations, just to have the silence, to enjoy nature, to enjoy whatever is there. And therefore, it would be the best option for me to travel to such a place and have a hotel without Wi-Fi.
So what will I do? I'll recap so that you can vote for the best table topic speaker. I'll recap very shortly. Ishan, about a job in the city where you always wanted to live. Maria Teresa, the situation with the person wanting to become president of the country. Lily, coffee to your boss. Alman.
Mentor, mentee.
That's right. Monica, sorry, only 100,000 euros. And then the beautiful island without Wi-Fi for Brigitte.
And we just stick it in the jar.
It's 1 minute for the best table topics. And Nicole already said whoever the topic speakers. So the cup is coming to you. So just put the ballots there. So the visitors, the first come visitors, they may be a bit surprised why we upload all the time. It is some kind of rules and regulations of the Toastmasters. It's the normal practice, just to encourage our fellow Toastmasters.
And moral support.
Moral support, okay. Moral support.
Okay. I thought she was
The cup is there.
Thank you.
The lovely. Ballot counter is Monica. You can.
Yes, I will collect it myself.
Okay. Ballot counter is Monica. Yes.
I think
They already put the ribbon.
Excuse me, I need to know.
Oh, the name was
The name.
I didn't already tell you.
Okay. Monica has all your ballots. She will count. Meanwhile, I invite the general evaluator, Toastmaster Tatjana, to go through the evaluation.
Thank you. Madame
Toastmaster of the day. And we are coming to the evaluation section of our meeting today. I should have mentioned in the very beginning that actually all of us are part of the evaluation team. Why? Exactly because of those pieces of paper. You are obliged, or not maybe obliged, but would rather use, because we are exactly voting for the best topic. We are also looking at what we think about the speech which was provided. It's more or less a tete-a-tete with the speaker, but it still gives us a role. So I'm grateful for your efforts to write and provide your inputs to the evaluation of the meeting today. I would keep my comments about the overall meeting for the end conclusion remarks from my side. And for now, I would invite our evaluator of the speech, the first evaluator, Lily, to evaluate the speech of Ines.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Ines, congratulations. That was a wonderful icebreaker. You really told us about yourself, you gave us personal information, you made a story. You used a lot of props for a first speech. It was almost a bit overwhelming, and I think you were very, very ambitious with your technical desire to have the music to play for us. Would have been a nice touch, but a little bit over the top for an icebreaker. Really, all we want in the icebreaker, we want you to we want to get to know you, we want to hear your life story. And when you started talking about Suriname, I thought, okay, now we're getting a geography lesson. But you very quickly made it very, very personal and told us this amazing story of your life, of your history, of where you came from, and how you became you. You shared your values, you shared your life story, you shared your passion. It was very, very moving. A very, very interesting start. It was a story that, you know, icebreaker, you only have to speak 4 minutes. That's the minimum. And 6 minutes is the red light, and then 30 seconds you should stop. And I could feel it. You wanted to say so much more. We want to hear so much more from you. So get the ball rolling. You've started introducing yourself. You've started telling us who you are, where you come from. A couple of key points. Grandparents fought their way out of slavery. This was such a moving testimony to talk and to address the issue that we are women here. The agency, I think the UN in general, but in particular the International Atomic Energy Agency, is really working on, and our current DG is really working on raising the amount of women in the agency. So that was a very relevant and pertinent point. And you mentioned UNIDO, where you've been very, very active, and that was very, very uplifting, very interesting to hear about. The melting pot, the mini world, your values to tolerate, to care, to educate, that you are an economist and industrial psychologist. Who knew that? You fulfilled your mission, and Ines, I just want to hear the next speech. Well done.
It was supposed to be a handshake, but we are still in post-COVID situation. Thank you very much, Madam First Evaluator, for delivering such an excellent evaluation report, which we all kind of share. I would speak for myself here, the impression from and the feelings about. Really, that was very touching, I have to say. So now we are coming to the list of my support members of the team, and they would deliver their evaluation of the meeting we had. I would like to ask Madame Gramarian, Toastmaster, to deliver the report on the meeting. Melanie, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'll keep it short because we're running a little bit late today.
Word of the day, mullify, was used once only by Nicole, which is okay, it's a tough word, it's hard to integrate. The very small mistakes I noticed, and they're so minimal, I don't even want to mention them, but I have to. Alma, very, very cute, you said this, you said throughout meeting, it's throughout the meeting, and you said work comes first. Brigitte, one small thing when you gave your table topic was you said you have a quite old mom. I would rather say my mother is older, to that effect. Otherwise, I hear just these nice, forms of the English language, and I tell you, being a grammarian is difficult. You, as a native speaker, you have to listen and you think, that sounds right, it's okay. I mean, I've lived here so long. If an English teacher was here, I mean, I think even I would get probably a D, because we're not perfect, and that's okay. We understand each other, it's about communication, and there is a grammarian crown I must give to Maria Teresa for your excellent table topic speech on just getting involved as being a member and what it means to give speeches, and so I give you the grammarian crown today.
Can I make a suggestion?
Can I stop you from making this suggestion? No.
Because I loved her use of the word subliminal. I thought that was so brilliant. So can we maybe share the grammarian crown?
Vice President of Education, you can call the shots.
An excellent development we have here, the shared crown. Usually there is a fight. Here we have a shared one. This is our club. So welcome anytime, enjoy. Thank you, Madame Grammarian, for giving the evaluation. And we can now be relieved because grammar is over. Now we are going into the statistics. And the statistics starts with time keeping. Toastmaster Alma, the timekeeper, please deliver your report.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. I also want to thank Melanie for the constructive feedback, especially when it comes to I think some of colleagues will agree with me. For me, it's sometimes I type whole the email and there is not even one the or and I'm like, okay, there should be some, because in my native language, Bosnian, we don't use these articles, so it's very difficult for me. So yeah, exactly. For my next icebreaker. So in my timekeeper role, I must say most of us, because I was also in table topics, were within set time limits. With the exception of Ines, it was a bit longer. That's why I left the red light on, so just for you to know how long, but our speech was supposed to be from 4 to 6 minutes. It was 7 minutes, 50 seconds. Okay, so almost 8 minutes. Eshan in table topics, now I'm going through table topics. It was supposed to be 1 to 2 minutes. Eshan, 55 seconds. So 5 seconds shorter than green light, but almost there. Maria Teresa, 1 minute 47 seconds. Lily, 1 minute 48 seconds. Myself, 1 minute 43 seconds. I'm proud of myself. Monica, 1 minute 19 seconds. And Brigitte, 1 minute 7 seconds. For the evaluator, Lily, for the evaluation of the speech, it was also within the set time limit. It was supposed to be between 2 and 3 minutes. It was 2 minutes 33 seconds. And this concludes my report for today.
Thank you, Madam Timekeeper. Very important for us. There is a timing for myself also, the general to open the evaluation, but there is a prescription of why.
And it was 1 minute 14 seconds, so it was below 2 minutes. So I was not sure if it should be timed or not, because we didn't time.
We don't know even what is timed, but yes.
Yeah. Because you have a split speech.
Yes. So then we have our Toastmaster who is responsible for ballot counting, and Monica, please open up the results.
Monica, I think I just need one.
Our counter.
Yes,
okay, our counter. But we're not supposed to be able to change things. I'm not forgetting about our counting, but I introduced the ballot counter, so if we can. Otherwise, if we are still receiving the ballots, please examine your role as our counter.
I think this won't even change the
Ladies
results.
first.
Actually, it strengthens even more the result that we already have. And it's my honor to announce that the table topic winner is our very, very experienced Maria Teresa.
Thank you very much, Monica. And I do agree that actually this should have been the last point of the evaluation from the team because it's exactly rounding it up, but this is a lesson for the next general evaluator to learn, and myself in that role, of course. So, exam, please, your...
Madam Toastmaster, Madam Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. So let me be a little bit straightforward in this case, because when I'm counting, it's a very simple task to count this A and R, but this time all were seniors and experienced. Also some was native speakers like Maria Teresa and Melanie. So there was very less A and R's. But also when I'm counting, I see some had 6 minutes, I mean the speeches are longer, so definitely the amount of making such a mistakes are more probable than me, for example, with 55 seconds. So, but as an average, if I'm just saying, just average here, Ines had 2, sorry, Nicole 3, Maria Teresa 1, Lily 1, Alma 5, you know, you counted my 55 seconds, yes.
You'll have a bit more.
Monica 4, and Birgitte 1. And this is my report on this, and thank you.
Thank you. Let's start responsible for our counting, and with this I would like to remind that those who don't stay in the list should pay for their R and M in monetary terms. There's a collection here.
It's 10 cents per hour, but if you make more than any amount of hours, and more than 10, it's just, you know, when you're on whatever. So that's the threshold.
And it's 15. Am I not supposed to make the general evaluation? I'm just a bit alert in a way. So we completed the meeting today, and we've heard from the team members, which I appreciate. The roles were very seriously taken and fulfilled to improve our skills and our capacities. I still would like to make a very short evaluation of the table topics part of the meeting, because I was so much impressed by the story we heard behind the what-ifs which you might have put on yourself. And there we traveled from Dream City, again comparing to our preference for money. We were introduced to a marketing campaign on Toastmaster membership, still thinking about higher positions in politics, becoming a president. We had a very innocent coffee story from working environment, which every one of us could have been faced in time, and Lily was so kind to not even notice how tricky the situation is. We always think about mentor and mentee roles, and there we heard some insightful information from Alma. The lottery and money, value again, monetary and practicalities were introduced to us by Monica, testifying her her current life interests, so to say. I'm joking, please. And of course the island. I thought I would jump on it with pleasure because I have stories to speak, to present, but Brigitte made it so nicely, not being actually the one with this disease of connection to Wi-Fi and whatever it brings to our life, positive or negative. So the meeting started a bit late. I have to admit we had a lot to discuss on the business section. That's why we are a bit late with closing the meeting. We had all the roles filled. We had an excellent speech presented with always very insightful information for me. All the speeches are organized this way. We had an excellent topics master session, and we also learned what we say or do not say during our speeches from all the members of my team. With this, I would like to conclude my evaluation of the meeting and return the control to Nina.
Thank you, January evaluator of the meeting, Toastmaster Tatiana. Before I hand over to President, whenever we come here, I see a lot of energy, a lot of smiling face. We support each other so much. It is such a great series. So that made me to make the final decision. I will sign into Pathways and I will. One decision, second decision, again one more request. If you can, please try to support our Toastmaster Sila. With this, I hand over the floor to the President of the Toastmaster Melanie.
And she's running up to the front because she knows you all have to eat your lunches. So let's close our meeting today. Again, we did go overtime. We usually don't for the new members. Well, I mean, we really should. I mean, an hour and 15 minutes, we should be able to get it all in if we keep to the schedule of the timing of things. Business section is still very full. I'm going to remind you of everything, but we have 4 guests today. I'd like to call you again. Stand up, give us a little feedback, starting with Diana.
Thank you. Thanks to all. It was really interesting for me to hear the various types of styles of speech and from different, contexts and background. I think it's just the style of speech is changing very much depending on the region where we come from. And if you're Latin, of course, I know we tend to go a little bit longer. I don't know if it is like sometimes this, willingness to share as much as we can. So, but I'm really found that also the organization was great and how the speeches are organized. I'm trying to get to know how this works and what I can contribute or what can learn more.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
You will get an email for the next meeting and you can log on via that. Then I'm going to call up June again.
Yeah, because we are kind of over time, it can be a concise, very informative meeting within the 1 hour or so period of time. And I've already been looking forward to our next session. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, once again, thank you. It was very, very interesting and I really enjoyed it, and thank you, Rina, for sharing. That was very nice and very interesting story about Suriname. I didn't know. So, yes, thank you. Table topics were very, very interesting.
And that's
Thank you again, and it was really nice. I really liked Ines, since I identified with that, and it was really emotive for me, and it was really interesting to know about the non-Suriname and coming from Suriname, and all the table topics were really also inspiring for me, and really glad to be here to join this meeting.
Thank you. Even if you are a guest, sometimes you get called upon for table topics. I was personally, and that's what made me want to join. Because it's no fun if you can't participate. So you see, with Rina now wanting to join Pathways, it's really fun to get up here and talk. Who else listens to you in the office or you're at home? Your kids don't listen to you, your spouse doesn't listen to you. And on that note, before I close, dates, don't forget. 24th of May, we're going to have an online meeting. It's going to be me telling you who's on the Club Leadership Committee. Hopefully I get someone together. Announcing, yes, let me finish, announcing who our nominees are going to be for the Executive Committee for the 22-23 year. Then, June 14th is our in-person annual general meeting. That's when we're going to have the report from the club officers. Brigitte will speak. It has to be what the budget is and what we're doing. The elections will take place that day. We need quorum. I need your presence here. Please come. And don't forget to support Scylla on Sunday the 15th. Enjoy your lunch. Enjoy your day.
So if anybody wants to get the link, at least for the conference, and, in order to, thank you. We didn't have them, and I'm so glad. Yeah.